eyes of hope and prayer, with boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare. Side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land. We pledge our lives to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
Heavenly Father, we come before you at the start of this new day, giving thanks for life, for health, and the opportunity to serve through this station. We ask for your divine presence to guide us in all we do. Bless this broadcast, that it may be a source of inspiration, joy, and unity to all who tune in. Whether near or far, may our words uplift, our music heal, and our message bring light to those who need it most. We pray for our listeners, wherever they may be. Grant them strength for the day ahead, peace in their hearts, and success in all they put their hands to. Cover those traveling with your protection, and those at home with your comfort and provision. Lord, may everything we do bring honor to you and be a blessing to others. Guide our steps, bless our efforts, and let this station be a vessel of positivity and hope. In your name we pray. Amen.
Your voice, your soundtrack, your station. New Era TT Radio. Net Radio.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Ooh. Man, your belly. If you cut me, you go see blood. And if you squeeze me, you go feel the love. We are one people under the sun, one nation under the law. So who feel the black? Who feel the black? Who feel the white? Who feel the white? I don't know. But it's set till tomorrow night. Who feel the wrong? Who feel the wrong? Who feel the right? Who feel the right? Come and go. And all who feel the too bright. Let me jump up. Same way. Let me wind up. Same way. Party non-stop. Same way. Ramage dingule kelkete, we come to play mass. Every creed and class. Don't let nothing pass. Like a ready TV, all the love inside away. You got an accent, but we not really different. 99, 1% love to wine, represent. All that we want to see, happiness, prosperity. I for you and you for me. Cause if you cut me, you go see blood. And if you squeeze me, you go feel the love. We are one people under the sun, one nation under the law. So who feel the black? Who feel the black? Who feel the white? Who feel the white? I don't know. But it's set till tomorrow night. Who feel the wrong? Who feel the wrong? Who feel the right? Who feel the right? Come and go. And all who feel the too bright. Let me jump up. Same way. Let me wind up. Same way. Party non-stop. Ramage dingule kelkete, we come to play man.
Wake up, rise up. It's the Net Radio Breakfast Show, bringing you the energy, music and vibes to start your day right.
Feeling the tempo, So current.
Ramaji, Dingole, Kilkiti. Real Trini words there for you guys. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Trinidad, Tobago, neighbors in the Caribbean, friends who are streaming all around the globe.
And if you squeeze me, you go feel the love.
So glad to have you here. And if you're wondering where here is, it is New Era TT Radio. The heartbeat of the Caribbean is to take you above and beyond. Beautiful Tuesday morning it is, and we're happy to be here with you. So let me say much thanks to the Heavenly Father for bringing us together for another day. And everything that we do, dear God, let it be a blessing on to you. Sir Charles, that's me, and happy am I to be here with you as we welcome each and every one. Yeah. This is our Get Up and Go, the breakfast show.
Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The breakfast show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah line, let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Good vibes rolling through the air. The breakfast show, energy everywhere. We talk, we laugh, we make you think. Grab your doubles or your morning drink.
If you cut me, you go see blood. That's one of my favorite songs from Black Sabbath.
Indeed it is. Indeed
It is
it
one
is.
of my absolute favorite songs from Blacks. I was dancing up a storm here, and I know I could dance. So,
No, it is a beautiful song, eh? The lyrics just rap. It just grips you.
yeah,
It's so
it's
real.
really-
It's so real.
Yeah, Blacks was before his time, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blacks
It's
was
one of
one
those.
of
It's one of those classics from Blacks that I always love.
Give us a little bit more, Sir Charles. Give us
Same
a little-
way it's called for people who didn't know. Same way. If you want to look it up and take a wine in your kitchen.
Yeah. Ooh. If you cut me,
You go see blood.
and if you squeeze me, you go feel
Go
the
feel the
love.
love.
Yeah, one people under the sun, one nation under the law. So who feel the black? Who feel the white? I don't know. But it's set till tomorrow night. Who feel the wrong? Who feel the right? Come and go. And all who feel the too bright. Let me jump up. Let me wind up.
Oh, what a wonderful song to start the morning.
And it mixes in with the carnival spirit, eh?
Yeah.
You know?
And of course, it's almost like the weekend begins tonight, people, at the second after midnight. That's what it is, because we have a long weekend. Because, of course, Thursday and Friday are holidays in Trinidad and Tobago. So it's like the weekend begins tonight. And that's a nice song. That was a wonderful piece of music to start this Tuesday morning. So well done, Sir Charles.
no problem. Thank you.
Well done.
Tomorrow night.
I missed something this morning, though. Was it me or did I miss something through the prayer?
No, the prayer was there.
You said the prayer?
Yeah.
Ooh, I missed that. Sorry.
Yeah.
It was daydreaming.
I don't know. I was in.
I don't know.
But a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know though that second line of Black song. If you squeeze me, you'll feel the love. A lot of people don't know that about me. You know?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I know he was going there, Sir Charles. Lord. have mercy.
Yes. I think it was that conversation Blacks had with him that caused this song, you know.
No, yeah. A lot of people don't know that you just gotta squeeze me and you'll feel love.
Yeah. So your wives never squeezed you.
But yeah, them real squeeze me.
Probably still squeezing.
Yeah. That's how I love as Sir Charles.
Probably
You know,
still squeezing. Don't worry.
I don't know that this is an appropriate segue, but I got some shocking news last evening about the death of someone, and someone who I knew very well, Annabelle Suklal. She is.
Oh, yeah.
She has recently received silk. She was the ex-former wife of Ronald Boynes. So we were all close. I knew her from long time. I knew the children when they were born. You know, so it was just a bit of a shock yesterday when I got that news about
So I
Annabelle.
didn't know you knew her because I would have gotten that news over the weekend, maybe Saturday or so, or Friday or Saturday. Friday or Saturday, I got it
Yeah,
because one of my good friends would have called.
yeah. But Ronald Roger and I used to hang at one time. I was campaign manager up there in Toko, San Grande for a little while. So I knew Annabelle. I knew them before they got married. I knew them when they got married. I knew them when they had the first child. I knew them when they moved because I used to be at their home. It was a bit of a shock to me when I got that news. I said, it's not Annabelle. Why? And then I had to message Ronald, of course. And, he said his children are in grief because it was so sudden, It was just so sad to read that, So condolences to the Suklal and Boynes family on the death of Annabelle, who only just recently received silk in the last batch of senior attorneys. Very sad news.
So condolences to her family, and and all of her friends.
Deepest sympathies.
Yeah, and to the judiciary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So of course, let's officially say good morning because we started with blacks and was enjoying that. So a special good morning to all our listeners and viewers wherever you are in Trinidad and Tobago, up the Caribbean and around the planet, wherever you are watching or listening to us from. A special good morning to you. We know you have choices, and we're glad you chose us. And good morning to my co-hosts, formerly Wendell and Sir Charles.
Good morning, formally, to my co-hosts, Sir Charles and Richard Raghubar Singh, who are doing an absolutely fantastic job producing the show every single day. I just look on, I listen, but I learn. Did I just do 3 L's there?
Look on and learn.
Look on, listen and learn. Yeah. But it's a pleasure. It's really a pleasure doing this show with you guys in the morning. And of course, doing it for the people who continue to be our number one fans all over the globe. And we know that because they tell us where they're from, So it's really a pleasure, They always say your thanks could come in heaven. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't,
All right, well, let's get into some good news, because it's our good news segment. So let's see what's up.
I'm just here to say that 2 Trini restaurants made the New York Times top 100 best restaurants in New York City list. Me personally, I think that's a big deal. So the first restaurant had already been on the list, and that's Trin City Roti Shop in Queens. And the newest addition to the list is A&A Bacon Doubles, that's in Bed-Stuy. And not that we need this validation from the New York Times about our culture, our cuisine, and our culinary expertise, but it is still a big deal. It's a great recognition, especially for the people who work in those restaurants, who conceptualize those restaurants to bring Trini food, Trini cuisine to the big city.
All right. So that's some good news. 2 Trini restaurants making the New York Times best restaurants in New York list.
Okay.
So that was some good news to put a smile on your face.
Well, tell me it's a little too late. I'll go and find it. But...
The other good news
At the wrong time.
I'm telling you, you bring that up at the wrong time.
The other good news we have is Wendell riding an animal, but I don't know if you want to see that.
It's better than the animal riding me.
Oh, God. It's a camel, people. Get your minds into the damn gutter. He's riding a camel. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can at least show one when.
Yeah, show one. Show. Well,
Talk when I search for your content.
The other two of the clips are very short, and one is just about a minute. I have some birthday greetings. Can I do that by the time you fiddle around with your thing, grumpy old man?
What's wrong with my thing? I am looking. I am looking for your video.
Well, I see you bending over fiddling. So I don't know what's going on.
My head is just lowered looking at my phone because I'm looking for your content.
Oh God.
Yeah, best do the birthday greetings.
Instead of having all this dead here. Alvin Kojo, happy birthday. Today is one of our ardent fans and listeners and contributors to this program. Dean Allen, he is celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Dean.
Happy birthday, man.
Wife of former mayor of Port of Spain, Natasha Barbara Timke, she is celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday, Natasha. Former mayor of Port of Spain, Joel Martinez, he also has his birthday today. Happy birthday, Joel. Happy birthday to my former schoolmate, Steve Gonzalez Jordan, and Michael Salazar, Wedian Latash, former teacher at Ascension School in Port of Spain. She was a teacher for years there. Kevin Sizzler Pierre, one of the peers from Jefferson Street in Cocorit. I think he's a member of the Defense Force. Daniel Decoto Campbell, she's also celebrated her birthday today. All right, today, of course, is June 17th. And of course, it's the day before the weekend because we have Thursday and Friday are public holidays. So it's a very long weekend. We haven't had a big weekend like this in June for a while. Normally we get Easter like this. We have not a 4-day weekend outside of Easter for a while. So we have one. All right. So Richard, show that guy on that animal, that camel.
Well, I opted to go with the longer one, the one for a minute or something like that.
All right.
So brace all yourselves. Wendell on a camel. Your good news for today.
Hello, my friend. How are you? In the desert.
Oi.
All right.
How are you? Take a selfie. I ain't turning on this thing for nothing. If we stop here, walking and turning, no.
That wasn't the long one.
That is the long one.
No, the long one is the first one. The long one is me actually going and climbing on the camel.
Well, this was the larger file.
Okay.
So that's why I assumed it was the long one.
That's good enough.
Yeah. So Wendell on a camel.
In the desert in Egypt.
In Egypt, so now you all know. All right, so you know what? Let's get to greeting our people who have joined us from early this morning on the breakfast show. You know, we love this part where we bring you up on the screen and say who you are and who is listening to us from where.
Mm-hmm. So if people didn't know you were here, you're here now.
You know.
Susan Jessup, of course, came in at 3:36 a.m.
Boy, Susan's sleeping these days. Nice.
Yeah. I noticed that. About people.
Susan again somewhere.
Yeah. Brennan Smith also came in at 3:46, 10 minutes later. From Goodwood, Tobago. Boy Bidesi from Debe says good morning. Slick Money Grip. I don't know if he's in Trinidad, but he is sending good morning greetings. Erica Charles from Mova. Marlon Motley from North Valsain. Miguel Gonzalez from Arima. Robert Taylor from Fernandina Beach in Florida. Cheryl Silly says good morning. Doreen Pear from North Carolina. Wendy Ann James from Aranguez says good morning. Ingrid from Tucson, Arizona. Joyce Phillip, top of the morning to you guys. Sherwin and Juliet Kerr from Arima says good morning to the breakfast crew. Wayne Ramsey from Fort Lauderdale. Subhash Mangal Kathy Ann Charles from Cascade. That's it. Cascade. I will not forget that this next time, Kathy Ann. Doreen Pierre, good morning, Net, and all on the live chat. Odell Guy says good morning. Lambert Bruce from Eldo, as in El Dorado. Alistair Hart from San Fernando. Charmaine Bernard from the DMV. What's DMV? Diego Martin Valley? Is that what it is? I guess so. Cheryl Johnson, sorry. Cheryl Johnson from Arima. DL from Good Morning Breakfast Crew. Happy Tuesday from Patricia Defoe. Rena Jennings from Pity Valley. Trinidad Margot from Florida. What a beautiful start to the day. Indeed it was. Donna Ramlo Chan from we don't know where, but he or she's gonna be messaging like crazy later on. Melchizedek says morning guys. Margaret Thomas, good morning. No Guido, what is that? No
audio. She's saying.
No audio. Okay, that's what
I don't know. No
right.
audio from whom?
I don't know, Margaret. At 6:11, we were talking our way off. Ozzy Molino said, good morning, everyone. Carol Guevara says, good morning, all. And Donna Ramlochan sends condolences. Brent Hackshaw, good morning, gentlemen. Okay, Donna Ramlochan has gone on that tirade again, as usual. Julia Batiste, good morning, guys. Kurt Hope. What symbol is that? I'm not sure. It looked like the sun over the hills, eh? Claire Lendor Rollins says, good morning. Joyce Phillips, so what are we going to do Thursday and Friday? Nothing to listen to. So Charles will be here to entertain you all with music, I'm sure.
Yeah, we have music throughout then.
Yeah.
So
Apparently,
look for the YouTube. The YouTube is for talk.
Yeah.
So you go to the website and
go to the net website and you'll get to Charles.
Yeah.
Right? Andre Reno says, good morning, guys, locked on in Beach have rain. Okay. Kurt Hope from Nashville. Trinidad Margot says he or she also had that experience in Egypt. Yeah, it was a great experience. Kazim Mohammed says, good morning. Lennox Francois, good morning, gentlemen. On my way to work from Baltimore. And Donna Ramlochan is apparently from Piao. All right. So those are all our messages thus far. We will
the early morning crew.
Yeah, the early morning crew. Lennox and Cathy and Tongs and join us. Go ahead, Sir Charles. Sorry, my apologies.
No problem. So Carlin out there in Caranage, good morning to you. Also to Margaret Thomas. Margaret was up very early today also. Terry Ann Peters, good morning to you. And of course, Cephas, have a great day. To Kent, have a fantastic day. Oliver Manwarin, Archbishop Ashton Clark, good day to you. Miss Abedy, Valerie, good morning to you. And Frank Andrews. Frank is up early. Frank says he's trading in Forex. I don't know what Frank doing there.
I wish him luck.
Yes.
I see
So that is
news.
it from understand here, guys.
I saw some big news yesterday about Agostini making moves to acquire Prestige Holdings. Serious money passing. Yeah.
I find that story, and hear me out, Brandon. I found that story a little farcical in the sense that Agostini is trying to buy out Prestige Holdings Limited. It's making, but it's really a swap of shares.
Right.
Right? So they're swapping, I think for every 4 shares in Prestige, you get 1 share in Agostini. A lot of the people who own the both companies are the same people.
Yes.
The directors are the same.
Yes.
So it's like all the kind of own it already in a kind of way.
Yeah. But it has
That's how I looked at it.
It has to make sense what they do.
Well, so it's like it's really like, I suppose, getting majority shares officially. And saying when the Agostini group now actually owns Prestige Holdings. Because Prestige Holdings, of course, is very valuable.
Oh yes.
In terms of its assets, because that's KFC, that's Subway, that's TGI's, that's Starbucks. All of that is Prestige Holdings. And then Christian Mute saying he's recusing himself because he sits on both boards. And then when I'm looking at the different names, I'm saying, but wait, they also own shares in Agostini too. I said, what is this?
Well, it's a swap. They're right, it's a swap.
It's like, everybody has some level of shares in the other, in a kind of, at least that's how it came across to me when I was reading the other.
Like himself to himself.
Well, not exactly, but a distant cousin to that. Yeah, it's not exactly that, but yeah. But it's a great asset to have in your portfolio.
Oh yes. Good morning also to Ron DeSantis Jr. I think I called Kathy Ann Townsend earlier on. Ron DeSantis Jr., Ram Naresh, Charmaine Bernard says Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia. Okay, so that's what DMV means, not Diego Martin Valley. it's Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia.
I thought she was waiting for a license or something.
The DMV. It's
the
true,
Department of Motor Vehicles. I said, she got a license this morning. That's where my brain went.
When you hear the term DMV too, you normally go to that, the Department of Motor Vehicles.
I say, she renewing her license or something, I don't know. That's very specific. I thought I didn't say anything.
I've never heard Maryland, Virginia described as DMV too, but who is that there? Oh, Care Business says hello, and Charmaine Bernard and Hillbench, all right? You have Charmaine cracking up with you.
Yeah, and let's say hello to Charmaine out there in New York.
Yes, Charmaine.
Hope that she's coming along okay, Charmaine.
Yeah.
I need to hear that bubbly side of you,
I think it might be the first time I've gone a day or two without hearing from Charmaine.
Yes,
Charmaine, hope all is well with you.
Charmaine has this infectious kind of laugh.
Yeah.
If you haven't had down there and you're talking Charmaine, trust me, she's going to pick you up.
Charmaine will start off messages to me, just laughing, and then she started talking. She just started laughing. And then talking.
Yeah. Always a smile in her voice.
Wonderful human being. Hope she's a lot better this morning. Because the weather in New York is there. I don't know if people live there now. Honestly, I don't. What they do.
What is that?
No, I mean.
But New York has better weather
so
generally. But New York has generally better weather than the UK. The UK is what they call a damp island.
No, but the UK is depressing weather. In New York, Richard, it'll be nice in the morning and in the afternoon. You wouldn't believe it's the same place, The UK will start off with gloomy weather almost every day, Regardless, the weather starts off gloomy, And you hope it gets better sometimes. But then you know for sure that it's going to be gloomy entire day in the UK sometimes. But New York is just so unpredictable. Unpredictable. Anyway, we here, happy? Sorry, Sir Charles, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying there's a story in the newspaper today about a couple that got shot at a roundabout in DB. And the wife was killed and the guy was shot.
DB.
DB.
DE.
Yeah, DB.
Okay.
So, I'm always kind of fascinated with some of these stories when they make the headlines because, you expect that the guys who are involved in stuff might be younger guys and stuff. But when you hear people at 65 and 57 being attacked, you make you really wonder, what's going on in this place. Yeah, because the probably the guys in the gangs and the warring and the turf and all the other things, and you expect them around 30, 35, 40. But when you hear people senior ages,
yeah,
people just pull up and shoot them just so and all that. So
it was a crazy story.
Yeah.
Anyway, our guests in the next hour will be two two people who are vying for the top office, because we couldn't do all because the elections is this weekend. Two people who vying for the top office of chairmanship of the People's National Movement. Former councillor in the city of Port of Spain, Farai Hove Masaisai, attorney at law, and current mayor of Port of Spain, Chinua Alleyne. They'll be our guests in the next hour. I have to let you all know we did reach out at the very same time that I reached out to Farai and Chinua. I also reached out to Marvin Gonzalez, who is also the next person also contesting that position. He has not responded up until now. Richard, I know that also reached out to him. He has not responded to Richard either. So don't think that we have decided we're not doing one person. Eh? We did reach out to all three at the same time, and two responded, Farai and Chinua. So they'll be our guests in the next hour. All right. If Marvin wishes at this last minute also to join us, we'll be only happy to accommodate him. All right. So if he's listening, or if anybody's listening, you could let him know that he can still join the show in the next hour if he so desires. All right. But we're just going to have the chairmanship position on our show. And we tried also for the political leader elect, Penelope Beckles. I also reached out to her, and she has not responded either. All right. So just letting you all know that from early. You know the bacchanalists go say, oh, they're interviewing the other people, but they ain't taking the person on the slate.
No, but Penelope Beckles Robinson did respond to me, Wendell.
She did?
Yeah, and I told you, she said she was on, anyway, let me not say her business, but let me just say that she was,
She's unavailable.
She's unavailable this morning.
Okay. All right, but we'll try her for tomorrow again.
Maybe we could try her for tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll try her for tomorrow again. That's all right. All right. Good morning, Joyce, Ann Noel, Ambrose Black from New York, Cheryl M. Kurt Hope said New York City can suppress your potential as an immigrant. Right. And good morning, Apollonius. All right. So I guess we could open the lines, Richard, unless you have something else you want to think about.
Well, we should do our headlines. That's what we usually do, Wendell.
Okay.
So there's something else I have to do is the headlines.
Then we open the lines.
Yeah, but I don't have papers this morning, so
So we're doing it the normal way?
Yeah. You can do the Express, I'll do the Newsday, and Sir Charles can do the Guardian.
The troublesome Guardian.
There we go. There we go. The headlines in today's Express reads in the online version: financial recklessness. That's what Ria Tate has written about, and I suspect that has to do with the TTRA. Millions spent on SOE detainees and body cams. Some $3.7 million was spent on food and other items. Oval down, not out. The iconic Oval. The stories about the iconic Queen's Park Oval in St. Clair. And Diaz keeps steel pan players on top. That's Sidel Diaz. All right. So those are some of the stories trending in today's Express Online. All right.
All right. So I'll go to the Newsday. Answer McCall, COP Sustainability Champion 2025 Award. So that's some good news to Answer McCall. Multiple fires in North-South Trinidad being investigated. Mother of 21-year-old found dead in Carlson Field. Monster murdered my child. Senior attorney Annabelle Suklal dies. Well, that's, not new news. 455 million more goes to the Education Ministry. OWTU official, there will be fire on Labor Day. That means. Minister, government will enhance Cabo Star service. And Cuba Barber robbed of close to $11,000 and other items. And the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber signs in a trade agreement with St. Kitts and Nevis Chamber. So that's some of the headlines in the Newsday this morning. Over to you, Sir Charles, and the Trinidad Guardian.
Thank you very much. This troublesome Guardian that only have one set of ads popping up. SFC chairman apologizes to PNM MP for disrespectful comment, and that is the Standing Finance Committee. The SFC chairman, Jagdeep Singh, yesterday issued a formal apology to Laventille West MP Kareem Marcel after being accused by opposition members of making a disrespectful and inappropriate remark during the proceedings.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah,
What
that
was that
little
about?
exchange. I think Kareem asked a question when something else was going on, and it was a kind of back and forth situation. So,
And you
support,
better watch it, you know.
yeah, support groups calls for more help for women, and also Tanku says cartel U.S. payment still under probe. I thought they're done with that. Um, Alexander hopes for rollout of 3,000 body cams by year's end.
Oh, please.
AG's office gets 89.5 million for rising costs. um, and there's a say about Stuart Young. Young asks if government paying Auditor General's legal fees. And finally, damage assessments ongoing following last week's flooding. Yeah,
Well, based on the weather that is about to come, we may have even worse flooding coming, if that weather report is accurate that I got.
yes.
Mm.
Brace, people, brace.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and according to where you live and that sort of thing, you really have to know the area you're living in and prepare. You know.
Yeah. Around this time of the year is normally very rainy, yeah? And with Corpus Christi
But it's called the rainy season. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it's even more rainier than normal. But the one day that you're guaranteed in a kind of way to have a sunny day, but if not a totally sunny day, but it's the day with the longest sunlight hours, which is June 21st. The summer solstice is on June 21st. What day is that? That's Saturday or Sunday? June 21st is which day of the week? One of the days in this weekend. It's the longest, it's the day with the longest, most among the sunlight hours. So it's kind of guaranteed to be a good day. You know, even amongst all the rainy days. All right. So that's our news for today, and I guess we could open the lines and take some calls whilst we come up with a poll. And I don't know why that 3,000 body cams by the end of the year struck me as a good poll. I want to see Commissioner Guevara because he is being installed as commissioner today. Today is the handing over ceremony for Commissioner Guevara. So as of today, I think officially, if I'm not mistaken, he is Commissioner of Police. And it's not acting, it's Commissioner of Police. I want to see him get those 3,000 body cams on police officers by the end of the year. If he could do that, really off to a great start.
I don't understand what you're saying, Wendell. Maybe we're having some sort of interference. But are you saying that they are to get 3,000 body cams by the end of the year?
That's I listened to what Sir Charles just read in terms of the news report. He said Minister
The roll-outs, apparently they must have it.
Minister who?
Yeah.
So Charles, give him a little gist of the story there that you just read. You have it with you?
Yeah. Just had to get through some ads with the Guardian. Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander has confirmed that approximately 3,000 body cameras have been requested for full deployment across the enforcement agencies. He noted that as of now, 970 body cameras are in active use by members of the TNT Police Service.
Every time you hear that figure, is a different figure.
No, but if it's 975 in active service, are they saying the 3,000? The way you said it, Wendell, it sounded like the 3,000 cameras are to be acquired. And when they are acquired, then they will be ruled out. Or is it that they have these 3,000 cameras and they are rolling them out in phases?
Well, no.
He used the word requested, so they probably mustn't have it yet.
Right.
He said confirmed 3,000 body cameras had been requested. And Alexander said 970 body cameras are presently working.
Requested from whom? They're to be imported?
Well, bought from wherever supplier they're getting it from. But
where by the end of the year came into it though?
Yes, he said that by the end of the year,
that
they'll be in use. That's how I read that story. That's how I interpreted that story. Isn't that what you said, Charles? By the end of the year? by December.
Yeah, they was asking for additional funding for the police, and he stressed that the funds would address existing obligations arising from a shortfall in the fiscal 2025 allocations and would not finance any new projects. Right, so yeah.
So it's three. Okay, I was I was just trying to wrap my head around of why would it take almost to the end of the year to get 3,000 cameras?
Why would it take 6 months?
Why would it take 6 months? But maybe
Money.
No, it can't be money. That figure of 3,000 cameras existed even before the change in government. It was a TTPS issue since before the change of government. You heard that figure being bandied about that they're getting cameras. The last Minister of National Security, Fitzgerald Hines, would have said something along the same lines. So they were never ordered then. Or is it that to order these cameras takes 2 months? I don't know, because of the quantity. Or they're on the slowest ship or plane coming possible. I don't know. I just don't understand, because that's a topic you've heard before. And that number you've heard before.
So Richard, if based on this latest story, of course, even the use of 970 is something new, because every time you interview somebody in the TTPS, you get a different number. You get 300 or 400, you get 500.
Maybe they're increasing them, maybe they're deploying more and more.
No, but that article is saying that there's 975 in use already. Where? We don't know. Because as if when we interviewed Mr. Benjamin there, didn't he say 300 to 400 in use?
I can't remember what he said.
Yeah.
Listen, all I'm saying is that if Mr. Guevara, Commissioner designate, gets 3,000 body cams supplied and working on police officers by the end of the year, that to me is a great achievement. You understand? Because I don't believe that's going to happen. I honestly don't believe that's going to happen. Mr. Guevara has been in there more than 2 decades, they said. He knows the culture of that police service better than anybody else. Just like Mr. Benjamin knew, just like Mr. McDonald Jacob knew, just like Ms. Ulla Christopher knew. They know the culture inside of there. If they could get that to fix, because I saw a list of Mr. Guevara's immediate things that he wants to do, right? I commented it on Facebook. Number 4 was to regain the trust in police officers. He needs to put that as number 1. If he put that as number 1, the issue of solving crime and suppressing gangs and so on, which he also numbered ahead of that, he can't fix that if he ain't get the trust regained in police officers. He can't fix nothing else. That is my humble opinion. Right?
Can we take some calls before we get to the morning poll?
Yes, we can. And we have a lot of people on the line. So people, we can be taking your calls from here on in 281-1315. Good morning to you, caller. Welcome.
Good morning. Morning, Wendell, Richard, and Neil.
Morning,
to you all. So, first, what I wanted to tell you all, I know you all said that you all asked Penelope Beckles and Marvin and so, but yesterday, from in the afternoon till way into the night, they were in Parliament with the Standing Finance Committee. And tomorrow, there is where they go in to go the line by line to actually have the debate. So they are in Parliament again tomorrow. So I guess, I don't know, maybe
long days
from today also.
All right. We'll accept that. Except that I know that Marvin played my message.
But what I expected to see at the headline on the papers this morning, or to hear you all read out, is the behavior of the speaker. I expected that
completely. What happened?
And Richard, some of those questions you were just asking about the body camera were asked in the Parliament. None were answered. For that matter, Alexander couldn't answer any of the questions, not one. So, just informing. I looked at the entire thing, so I was just informing you.
Okay, thanks much. Yeah, because they seem to have had a number of very heated debates going, crosstalks going on, you know. And apparently the speaker had to be interjecting quite a bit.
Okay. I didn't see it.
I'm seeing one of the things here that's saying Standing Finance Committee Chairman Jagdev Singh yesterday issued a formal apology to Laventille West MP Karim Marcel after being accused by opposition members of making a
You're off your
disrespectful,
mic.
inappropriate remark. What?
Yeah, we were hardly hearing you.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
breaking up.
okay.
Mhm.
I turned away from my mic. Let me turn
Yeah.
to my
Well,
mic.
hold it right here. Let's
Since
take
all I
about
have older people ears.
Oh my word.
Standing Finance Committee Chairman Jagdev Singh yesterday issued a formal apology to Laventille West MP Karim Marcel after being accused by opposition members of making a disrespectful and inappropriate remark during the proceedings. I'm not too sure what the remark.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, caller, good morning to you.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Gentlemen, thanks for the insightful interview yesterday with Mrs. Teixeira. She was very calm and the interview flowed nicely and she gave very succinct and relevant information. My only thing though is I wish you all would have asked her about deficit financing and how long that has been a feature of our financing, right? She was there as an expert. And in my recollection, we've been running deficit budgets for almost 20 years.
20
and
years,
that was
you're
part
right.
of the problem with yesterday's proceedings, in that the estimates that the minister is saying that he has to bring in the budget in the media review probably tomorrow is the same thing that if the PNM has won, whoever was the finance minister would have had to do the same thing. And that is because the budget was the oil price that we pegged our budget to last year was over $70. And that only materialized for about the first couple of months of the year. After that, oil was always in the 60s. It's only now because of what happening in the Middle East, the price has finally gone above $75. So I'm not surprised with that. And as for the speaker, I thought that Wade Mark would hold the record safely as the worst speaker in our history. It appears from my early observations of the last Friday's sittings on the Finance Committee that Mr. Singh is on his way to breaking that record. And that is why he would have had to apologize to MP Marcel. So I will be watching him very closely, but it seems to me that he will eclipse the former speaker when last UNC held the reins of power. Thanks, our gentlemen, and good show as usual.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Bola. Good morning to you.
I'm now absolutely curious as to what happened with the speaker and Karim.
Yeah, Richard, have your story there. You can read it for you.
No, it's not in the story.
Yeah, but no, I can tell you what it is. I can tell you what it is. I can tell you
I'll get it for you after
the
I'll get it for you after the caller here. Caller, good morning.
Morning, Wendell. Morning, Richard. Morning,
Mr. Patrick.
I want to talk about the Speaker of the House. You know, I was reading an article some time back concerning the Speaker of the House. Anybody know this man before? I'm trying to find out because I was reading some things where the Speaker gets himself involved in some criminal activities and run away and in jail or kind of thing. How do you put this man as the Speaker of the House, right?
He was exonerated in court, Mr. Patrick.
That discussion is past, you know.
Yeah, and he was exonerated in court. He was found not guilty.
Yeah.
You could remember the magistrate we had at time who would make some jail for some bribe, and he still not passed up in jail.
Yeah. Yes, I remember.
Yeah, I talking about that the other day, and you know, it's people don't remember that things.
Well, but I guess that's part of some people not as old as us, you know, Mr. Patrick, and as old as you know.
Yeah, but I believe if you have somebody in a high order, in the highest court of the land, they have to have impeccable character. I believe so.
Yeah.
Right? Because the same way Mr. Wayne was talking about Vibes Cartel was in jail and he can't come here and this kind of thing. So I don't know how the system working is for some or it's for others. So we gotta get it right. Is either we want people with impeccable character to deal with our affairs, or we don't want them at all. Have a pleasant morning.
All right.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick.
For sure.
We have a lot of people online. Good
Well,
morning.
let me get to
I will
reading
make
the
a
little
good point.
article,
Good
reading
I,
the
Yeah.
I
reading
said,
the context. Pause after this call, Sir Charles, so I can read context of
okay,
what
no
the
problem. Yeah.
apology was.
Caller, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for taking my call. I said to myself, and I want to make this clear. That election done, and I pulled up my jersey. I really know I supported the United National Congress. And I really said I was stay away from the politics, right? But there's a caller calling and complaining about the speaker. I want to ask that caller, what was his view on the last speaker? I think her name is Anissa George. How she showed so much of bias towards the People's National Movement. How he felt about her. He could to jump out himself his skin and said about this new speaker about 2 sessions of certain, and he could then say that he could surpass that with mark. What was his views on the last speaker?
Mr. Billy,
his views. And in the second point is I want to fact what are the corporations doing about these buildings especially in San Fernando too, that is not occupied, right? And these are vagrants and homeless people is using them and know about one on Abercrombie Street, right? And these are potential for fires because if they go in there and they're cooking and they're doing what they have to do, the owners of these buildings must call to account and don't have all these buildings around town unoccupied and people get access. They will have fires like what occurred on Sunday night here. So I want to ask the mayor Porter Space, right? What is he doing about these? Getting in contact with them and let them secure the place because it could be a fire hazard. Thank you very much for taking my call.
yeah.
Connected to that, Wendell, I was wondering what was happening to that building that's supposed to house the homeless that was being built at $50-something million.
Yeah.
Just as you exit the priority bus route.
Construction
And I passed on the main road the other day, and I passed in front of the building, and the building is pretty far gone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, anytime a government changes, sometimes buildings stop, and I hope it doesn't stop for long. I hope they continue with the building because there's certain projects that I think should just continue.
Yeah.
And
the building has gone quite a way, within recent time I passed and the building has gone quite a bit.
But that's what I just said.
Construction has stopped since.
But that's what I'm saying, because you could always tell because you could see no activity whatsoever taking place.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh good God, just continue the building that on the social welfare building, just continue them because enough taxpayers' money is already spent. Just complete them and they will built for a particular purpose that is to benefit the city of Port of Spain. So just complete it in that direction.
Yeah, we'll have to get back to Vandana Mohit and those things.
Read the article so that we can.
Just before you do that, I must come to the defense of former Speaker Bridget Anija George, who served for 10 years without one stain on her character. One, not one. Okay? She may have been, you may have thought she was displayed biases at some point in time, but she served for 10 impeccable years. I must come to her defense. Right?
Anytime a speaker is elected by the presiding government, it's usually from their ranks. So that issue of impartiality always
will crop up.
Yeah, but always crop up. Yeah.
Absolutely no stain on her.
The only speaker that it has not cropped up, it was a guy called Arnold Tomasos. But anyway,
a guy called who?
Arnold Tomasos, the first speaker of the country. Right. Yeah, and that didn't crop up.
He was a speaker,
yeah, he was the very first.
Yeah, and he has, he's from an impeccable family. So
I'll tell you offline. To chat about Arnold Tomasos.
Okay, no problem.
So Standing Finance Committee Chairman Jagdev Singh yesterday issued a formal apology to Laventille West MP Kerry Marshall after being accused by opposition members of making a disrespectful and inappropriate remark during the proceedings. The exchange occurred as Marshall attempted to get clarity from Minister of Justice and Minister in the Ministry of the Attorney General, Devish Maharaj, on how much of the $54 million requested as supplementary funding for legal fees would be used to pay attorneys for past matters versus future cases. However, before Mirage could respond, Minister of Legal Affairs Saddam Hussein interjected, accusing the opposition of hypocrisy for questioning government spending on legal services. I know today is Monday, but today is not the UNC Monday Night Forum, quipped the Laventille West MP in response. As Marcel attempted to press his inquiry further, Singh interrupted, commenting on Marcel's professional background. And this is a quote, "I don't want to be even remotely deprecatory. I understand that you've recently been admitted to the bar. It would be difficult, if not impossible, for anyone, given the context of the answer given, to allocate percentile amounts to past and future." This remark prompted Port of Spain North St. Anne's West MP Stuart Young to object strongly. "Mr. Speaker, what does a member being admitted to the bar have to do with anything? So is it that only lawyers can ask questions related to fees?" Marcel, clearly frustrated, responded by repeatedly shouting, "It is highly disrespectful." MP for Martin Northeast, Colm Imber, also condemned the chairman's intervention. "Mr. Chairman, I have participated in at least 40 finance committee meetings already, 15 of which would have been under the UNC. This is the first finance committee meeting where I see the chairman, your good self, venturing opinion, seeking to clarify statements made. It is simply wrong. It is wrong." Singh initially defended his actions, saying, "All I can say is that I'm simply trying to help the process along. I am simply adding context." But Imber remained firm in his criticism. "Chairman, you are not supposed to get involved in the discussion." Recognizing the backlash, Singh conceded that his comment may have been inappropriate and offered an apology to Marcel. "If you are of the view, for that I apologize sincerely, member for Laventille West. I did not mean, and I said I meant, to be as least deprecatory as possible. It was not intended to be that way. I simply was lending a context to the question because we've been spending a lot of time on the question that the two ministers have answered." So that's the article. However you want to interpret it, that's the article. I read it verbatim.
Well, somebody, Katyan, is saying that the speaker kept joining the debate and had to be reminded that he cannot, as the speaker. He is to oversee the debate. Yeah. So
I just read it, and a lot of what I read were in quotation marks.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a sense of what the exchange was like yesterday at that meeting. Oh my God, it's almost 7 o'clock and we didn't do the poll. Good God, you and Sir Charles are very lackadaisical. You all do not watch the time. Morning poll, and don't even worry to try and defend it, Sir Charles. Morning poll. Do you believe that 3,000 body cams will be deployed across the police service before the end of the year? That's what you wanted, not so, Wendell?
Yes, that's what I wanted. That's what everybody wants.
Okay, so that's our morning poll for this morning. Do you believe that 3,000 body cams will be deployed across the police service before the end of the year?
Start to vote, people.
All right, we already have votes coming in. When you're ready, just say. I have to start from Miguel Gonzalez. We have a minute and a half. People keep voting, and I'll call out all. Don't worry. Not a single vote will be missed today. All right? Are you ready, sir?
Yes, I am.
All right. Miguel Gonzalez says no. Trini Gets Fit, no. Diane Payne, no. Joyce Phillip, no. Michael Oliver, no. Cathy Ann Townsend, no. Far Rockaway, Tabanka. Far Rockaway, come and check me today. Kelcher Cambridge, no. Julia Batiste, no. Margaret Thomas, no. Carol Guevara, no. Jason Samuel says yes. Okay. Charmaine Bernard. Charmaine Bernard says no. Anthony Atwell, yes. Cheryl Henry, no. Kazim Mohammed, no. Nicola McNichols, no. Susan Jessup, no. Ava Smith, no. Gregory Boyer, no. Ram Naresh, yes. Rena Jennings, no. DL, no. Anne-Marie Watson, no. Hi, Miss Maloney, morning. Slick Money Grip, no.
So, Charles, you have any?
Just a couple of them. Hold on. Sometimes when
all right, let me go with mine then. Claire Lendor Rollins, yes.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll give you mine after the news. Go ahead.
Claire Lender Rollins, yes, right, Richard. Susie B, no. Alice Hart, no. Andre Reno, no. Josie Richardson, yes. Felix Kazo, no. Ann Noel, no. And we will do from there after the news. As we break for the news, we'll finish off the poll, and then we'll have Farai Masaisai and Chinua Alleyne joining us as guests after 7 o'clock. All right?
All right. Well, the news is next.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is your news update for Tuesday, June 17th, 2025. I am Amanda Mitchell with New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service will host the inaugural handing over parade for incoming Commissioner of Police Alistair Guevara tomorrow at the Police Academy, Saman Drive, St. James. In a media release, the TTPS confirmed that Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander, along with members of the Executive and 1st Division officers, will be present at the ceremonial event. Guevara, a senior superintendent of police in the Special Branch, received unanimous approval from both government and opposition in Parliament on Friday. In a recent interview, Guevara outlined 6 key areas of focus: crime reduction, dismantling gang influence, removing illegal guns, rebuilding public trust, curbing school violence, and improving road safety. He is expected to receive his formal appointment letter between today and tomorrow and will officially succeed Acting Commissioner Junior Benjamin. A High Court judge has given the Director of Public Prosecutions 7 days to provide an update on the long-delayed Dana Cedar Hull murder case. On Friday, Justice Carol Gobin ordered the DPP to say whether he intends to file an indictment against the accused or drop the case altogether. The judge also instructed that Earl Peters, one of 10 men charged, must receive a written explanation for the delay. Peters and Rajai Ali filed a constitutional motion arguing that their nearly 10-year wait for trial has violated their rights. Cedar Hull, a former independent senator and prosecutor, was gunned down in May 2014 while driving in Woodbrook. Disputes between the DPP and judiciary over the delivery of an 8,100-page case file have further stalled progress. A 28-year-old prison officer assigned to the Aruca Maximum Security Prison has been arrested and charged with drug trafficking and smuggling prohibited items into the prison. According to police, the officer from Williamsville was first detained in May after authorities received intelligence that he was carrying contraband while on duty. On June 11th, following a joint intelligence operation, he was rearrested outside the prison. The officer is accused of trafficking cocaine into the prison for payment, as well as smuggling in multiple cell phones, SIM cards, and electronic accessories. He was charged over the weekend and is expected to appear in the Arima Magistrates Court today. In crime news, a woman from Rusilac was shot dead while in a vehicle with her husband at the Debe roundabout on Sunday night. Police say around 10:20 p.m., officers found a white Nissan AD wagon with blood on the rear passenger door and the engine still running. In the front passenger seat, they discovered the lifeless body of 59-year-old Elizabeth Mary Leonard with injuries to her face. Her husband, 63-year-old Premnath Enal, was found about 150 meters away with multiple gunshot wounds and taken to the San Fernando General Hospital for treatment. Police have not yet identified a motive for the attack. You are listening to news on New Era TT Radio. In regional news, Dominican authorities have vowed to dismantle a gun trafficking syndicate after seizing nearly 50 firearms, including AR-15 assault rifles, at the nation's ports since January. Acting Police Commissioner Lincoln Corbett revealed that 42 of the weapons and 220 rounds of ammunition were intercepted at points of entry, while another 7 guns were confiscated from suspected criminals. So far, 21 people have been arrested, with 7 already convicted. National Security Minister Rayburn Blackmore confirmed the existence of a regional gun-running syndicate and noted the success of new scanners at ports, funded by EC $2.7 million in government investment. Blackmore issued a stern warning to those harboring illegal weapons: surrender them or face the full 35-year penalty under Dominica's strict gun laws. In international news, the conflict between Israel and Iran reached a new peak as Israel bombed Iran's state-run TV station during a live broadcast, forcing a reporter to flee mid-air. The strike came hours after Iran launched a fresh wave of missiles, killing at least 8 in Israel, while Israel claims to have crippled Iran's missile and nuclear capabilities. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Iran's nuclear program has been set back a very, very long time. Israel warned over 300,000 civilians in Tehran to evacuate ahead of the strike, claiming air superiority over the capital. Iran has launched over 100 missiles, vowing more deadly retaliation. In total, 24 have died in Israel and over 220 in Iran, with hundreds more injured on both sides. Calls for U.S. intervention are growing as the region teeters on the edge of all-out war. That concludes your news update for today. I'm Amanda Mitchell for New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. The Breakfast Show with Wendell, Richard and Sir Charles continues right after this short break.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Your mid-morning just got better. Join Sir Charles for the mid-morning mix and mingle, where good music, real talk, health, and family matters come together, and your voice is heard. Whether you're at work, on the go, or just taking a break, this is the perfect mix to keep you engaged, informed, and entertained. The mid-morning mix and mingle, weekdays, 9 a.m. to 12 noon on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
This summer, give your child skills of a lifetime with Summer Boot Camp. Children between the ages of 5 to 17 come enjoy Children Iron Chef Competition. Your child will learn to prepare healthy breakfast, lunch, dinner, CPR, first aid, and conflict management. With field trip, your child will be given free apron and certification upon completion. Call 492-7397 or 336-4935. Institute of Health and Fitness Company Limited, located at number 79 St. Vincent Street, Tunapuna.
Join me, Brother David Muhammad, every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. here on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio, Powerful Radio. Join me to hear knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Tuesdays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. here on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Mornings just got better. You're locked into Net Radio Breakfast Show, fueling your day with the best music and real talk.
Patrice again, a part away. This is a part away, a part away. We out on road, are we looking for it, looking for it, looking for it. Head on bad, are we looking for it, looking for it, looking for it. Party starts, are we looking for it.
Into Net Radio Breakfast Show, fueling your day with the best music and real talk.
Well, everybody, if you're looking for it, you just found it. Yeah, if you're looking for good vibes, fresh energy, and great talk coming at you, you're getting it all here on New Era TT Radio. Just before we get back to the show, just to let you guys know that when we finish with the M&E TV feed and the YouTube feed that comes off just after 8 o'clock. Remember, you can stay with us all throughout the day at newerattradio.com, New Era TT Radio on TuneIn for all those people with their smart devices. And all the folks who are on YouTube, our next YouTube feed will come at 4 o'clock this afternoon with Tony Fraser inside of the afternoon drive time. Well, so while we continue to look for it, let's see what's happening with the weather.
Great news, Caribbean. The Breakfast Show is now on M&E TV, bringing you entertaining conversations, vital information, and influential perspectives throughout Trinidad and Tobago and across the Caribbean region. Catch us on Digicel Channel 20, Flow Channel 111, Amplia Channel 117, Blink Channel 109, Tricode Channel 154, and Airlink Channel 10. The Breakfast Show connects with the Caribbean and Trinidad and Tobago like never before. We're now on M&E TV.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box. And just a little bit of the weather for today, of course. It will be mostly sunny, slightly breezy, and breezy conditions. What?
You have an echo.
Yeah, that's, I mean, scripture. So to the weather today, mostly sunny, slightly hazy and breezy conditions are expected despite a few partly cloudy spells with light or moderate showers at times. There is also a 30% low chance of isolated heavy showers or thunderstorms favoring Trinidad. Tonight will be fair first with a few showers likely after midnight. Gusty winds may occur near showers and thunderstorms. And leewards, sunny, hazy, and breezy conditions are expected despite brief showers. And tonight will be fair but hazy apart from an isolated shower. Of course, the forecast maximum temperature for today in Trinidad is 31 degrees, 30 degrees Celsius in Crown Point. Seas are moderate, 1.5 to 2 meters in open waters, below 1 meters in sheltered areas. And sunrise was at 5:44 a.m., just in case you missed it. And sunset will be at 6:29 p.m. So now you know what's happening in the weather today in Trinidad and Tobago on the Leeward Islands. Of course, we are now going back to our poll just to finalize our poll results before we get into our guests. I think up first will be Farai Hove Masaisai, but let's go back to our poll and take the remaining votes.
And the poll is?
Do you believe that 3,000 body cams will be deployed across the police service before the end of the year?
All right, we have some other votes. I think I stopped at Anne Noel, but just in case I missed it, Anne Noel says no. Lester Cragwell didn't vote. Beauty Culture says no. Anthony Batiste says no. Patricia Defoe, no. Marlon Motley, no. Andrew Joseph, no. Charles Duncan, no. Marcia Rock says no. Ingrid from Tucson says no. Far Rockaway. Apollina says no. Magic says no. All right. So those are the votes I have online again.
And Sir Charles?
Right. So Patrick, Mr. Billy says no. He doesn't believe so. Valerie, Ms. Dabady says no. Frank Inaruka says no. Terry and Peter says yes, I hope so. Pauline says no. Sexy Red says no. And police too bad. Charmin says no. Joseph says no. Zena says no. Captain Ron says no.
All right. And last, Jude Khan says yes. All right, so we'll end it there. Okay.
All right. One more no for you, Richard. Sifa says no.
All right.
Polls are now closed.
So our poll for this morning, do you believe that 3,000 body cams will be deployed across the police service before the end of the year? We had 54 people voting on the poll this morning in the allotted time, and of the 54 people voting, 47 of you said no, you do not believe that 3,000 body cams will be deployed across the police service before the end of the year, and 7 of you said yes, we believe. So 7 said yes, 47 said no way, Jose, is that going to happen? So that's the results as dictated by our listeners and viewers across Trinidad and Tobago and across the planet. The nays have it for this morning. The poll is now.
He gets a real pleasure doing this, you know. look at his face when he does this.
I see it. You see it. I see it. Anyway, that's the end of our poll for today. Because apparently, Minister Roger Alexander had a hard time in Parliament yesterday. Drinking water now.
It's an open question, or you just
No, I just
making that statement.
based on the chat and based on what some people have been sending for me, apparently he had a hard time, you know. But it's early days yet, you know. When you look, you see, people don't understand. When you have 2 ears on one mouth, you listen more and you talk less. The less you talk, the speak, the better. I always admire certain ministers just go through government, go through the 5 years, and sometimes who is he? Who is she? You know, they don't hear nothing from them. You know. You have certain ministers to do that good, you know. You have to have the personality to do that, though. You understand? To know to say nothing or very little. You understand?
I thought that was a party instruction kind of thing.
No.
You listen to it. We could talk about this.
No, that people naturally like that. They say very. All right, let me remind you. The last Minister of Labour under the PNM. You remember him?
Kachi.
You remember his name? You remember him saying or hearing anything from him for the 5 years?
He didn't speak much. I think we interviewed him once.
Yeah, all through COVID and thing, he barely spoke. Yeah. The only time you used to hear about Hasselbackers is when we talked to him, the Minister of Digitization. Not so. You don't hear about just so some people have that gift that they could say very little and do very little and nobody don't trouble them.
Yeah. Even the guy from Laventel, what's his name? He told us.
Adrian Leons.
Yeah,
but he didn't have a ministerial portfolio until the very end. He was a minister in a ministry, you know. But yeah, there are some people who have that ability, and I'm sure they'll have people like that in this government too, who will go sail through without nary a word about them. You understand? It happens, but you have to have that personality. Or if you like to talk and you like to go out there in the news and you like to make a comment, then you get fired. The media vicious when they're ready, you know. We vicious when we're ready.
Hyenas in the jungle.
Who do we have Farai? Anybody on yet?
Wendell, you are part of the program, you could tell.
You know, you keep telling me that and you don't direct me to where I could tell.
Like down at the bottom where you see him. That area where you see him down at the bottom.
Programs with senior citizens is a challenge.
So they're not here.
The person shows up there?
Wendell.
Before we let them on, they show up there?
Take a time out.
Yeah, that's the green room.
Yeah, take a time out. Before you send up a blood pressure. Wendell is in a timeout for a minute.
You know the producer will get his blood pressure raised, you know.
Yeah, Wendell is in a timeout for a minute.
All right, so seeing that we don't have the guest inside as yet, we can take 2 calls.
Zena call. Zena alone. Zena alone. Nobody else.
Now you're being snarky, so take another timeout.
Oh Lord, you're paying me the cold storage.
We only want Zena to call.
Oh, well, is he not get beat out this time again?
But Wendell, it's PNM internal elections this weekend. It's June the 22nd. Is that a
Hold on,
Sunday?
Richard. Hold on, Richard. Hold on. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sir Charles.
That'll be the Monday.
Good morning, Richard. And good morning, Wendell.
Morning.
Well, I'm so glad the person reached late. I want to get in. I want to get in so badly.
Yeah, you can feel
anyway, today I just want to congratulate the Commissioner of Police for being the Commissioner of Police, and that he will be there from today. But what I hope is that the Minister of Homeland Security, I hope he woke up very early and read until he knows the thing by heart. So when he's speaking today in his capacity as Minister of Homeland Security, he won't have to be reading and forget where he reached when he raised up his head. So I just hope that he reads it so he knows where the full stop was before he stopped and look up at people. Right now, Mr. Commissioner, Mr. Homeland Security, please read so you'll understand. And my other point is this. Since the first day opening of Parliament, I find the Speaker was acting a certain way. I know that had to be biased because there is a party. I know that. But it is very glaring, and I think a lot of them need training. And I thought they used to have training before, but apparently when I just go and sit down and give a paper in your hand and read. Oh, before I forgot. And I also saw Wayne Sturgeon thing took, like when they're cheating in tests and you're fudging and they're telling the next person the answer. They were doing that to the Minister of Homeland Security yesterday, and we heard it. I heard it because I was listening.
So, Dabidi, let me ask you a question.
So I go on.
Dabidi, don't go yet. Let me ask you a question. Did you see anything on the opposition side that you wanted to talk about?
She gone with
that. Because apparently she was only focusing on the government.
Well, she clearly has her bias, I guess.
Oh, Dabidi, you can't make your speaker at the house. And I know where Zina going to this morning. Zina must be busy with her plan.
I said he's inside.
Right, Richard.
You said your microphone is off.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Let this be a teaching moment for you, Wendell. Are you noticing anything different?
No.
At the bottom of the screen. On the bottom of the screen.
Yes.
No,
when you
I'm
see
not.
us, you will see the Wendell.
Something is blocking it. I'm seeing it, I'm seeing the top of it. But something is blocking it.
Richard, let's go.
Some other parts of some other icons are blocking it.
Yeah. So good morning, Mr. Masaisai, and thanks for joining us on the breakfast show this morning.
Good morning, Richard. Good morning, Sir Charles. Good morning, Wendell, Stephen.
Good morning, Farai Hove Masaisai. How are you, sir?
I am good. Wonderfully well and blessed. Happy to be on your show. For the first time you have invited me on this format, and I'm grateful. I'm very grateful,
yes.
Wendell. And
this
this
format is going on 3 months, so we're pretty new, but we have surpassed every single other breakfast show in the Western Hemisphere.
Oh Lord, there he goes.
Well done.
That sounds like PNM hyperbole.
No, but definitely I miss you all on radio. But now that I am aware that you all are on with this breakfast show, certainly I will share it with my my friends and my team. Definitely.
All right, great. So well, we are doing yourself. We're having Chinua Alleyne as a guest. We did invite Marvin Gonzalez, but he didn't respond. But we found out why he may be busy in Parliament and so on, right? So that's not a problem. But you're vying for the post of chairman of the People's National Movement. If I'm not mistaken, not for the first time. You would have.
No, this is my second time on the rodeo. 2022. Right. In 2022, yes.
Right. Why the post of chairman?
Okay, well, the post of chairman of the party is a very disciplined post. It's a post that requires leadership, Certainly, I am a leader in my field. I've been practicing law for the last 15 years, a very successful practice at that. I view myself as a proud product of PNM policy. I benefited immensely from scholarships. Certainly, education was free while I lived in Trinidad, and it continued to be free once my academic grades were up in terms of my studies in the UK. The state paid for most of, if not all of my studies in the UK. And when I came back to Trinidad, I served as a local government representative. I was the councillor for Belmont North and West under Mayor Raymond Timke. And certainly my lifestyle has been one of giving back. Give back to the party in circumstances where you can. So I've served on the General Council. I've been serving on the General Council for the last decade. I've served in the Central Executive of the party. I have served as chairman of different committees in the Central Executive. And now I'm ready to serve as chairman of the party. I have no qualms with my fellow competitors, but I think I'm better equipped than them to serve at this moment. Marvin has his work cut out for him in the parliament, and certainly we see how heated that debate is. He has to watch over Padarat, and he's the chief whip. Right now we are in opposition. We need a chairman who will dedicate the time that has to be dedicated to the rebuilding of Balize House. The chairman is not only there to chair meetings when they are meeting. The chairman is actually there to give leadership as well and guide the party in terms of its policies. The same thing I will say with my good friend, the mayor of Port of Spain. We have a local government elections coming up. Focus on that. Win the elections, bring it home. Don't try to bite off more than we can chew, and don't try to wear too many hats, because we cannot serve more than one master. We are all here for a common good, and the common good is to get back into governance in the shortest possible time. All right, and certainly, I at this moment I'm not serving in a public capacity, so I have a little less responsibilities than my competitors. So I'm here to serve.
In terms of seeking the position of chairman. I know yesterday when we said that we were going to speak to people who are seeking the chairmanship, Wendell made the point that the chairman position is second only to political leader. And it's that important in the hierarchy of the People's National Movement. And I want to contextualize that there obviously is some level of dissent or I don't know, let's call it dissent in the PNM with regard to the approach that the political leader designate, because she's unopposed, is taking with regard to how she deals with the ruling government. There's some criticism coming out from the PNM internal machinery that says, oh, she's not being vocal enough, she's not being aggressive enough in terms of her responses, she's not talking enough in terms of challenging some of the things that the current government is doing. What's your position on that?
All right, so I'll be full and frank with the interviewees. Now, Penny went to school with my mom. All right, so Penny is like my aunt. So she went to law school in Kayville with my mother. So I treat her as a mother. All right, what you get with Penny, you get with Penny. We knew what we were getting before we got her. So I don't think you're gonna change Penny's style of leadership. Penny's style of leadership is maternal. It is a kind of sort of quiet, persuasive leadership. And she's not going to change her style. She has been a member of the PNM since the 1990s. She came into the Senate in the mid-90s, and she has served well, given us human service. So for me, if it is you are a member of the PNM and you know the leadership styles of our leaders, you can't expect Penny to be like Dr. Rowley. She would not. All right. More likely than not, she would delegate to persons to raise on different issues that they are strong on. We are coming out of 10 years of governance, so certainly she will things on energy, she will lead on Mr. Stuart Young to lead on that. Things on public utilities, she would lead on Marvin Gonzalez and so forth. She would not speak out of turn. She understands the difference between an opposition leader and a political leader. She is getting the mandate to be our political leader unopposed. And certainly on my side, I support her. I may not support her choices in her slate, but I support her as a leader.
Well, I'm glad you
So
raised
do you
that
think,
because-
Wendell, just one more question, and then we can go over to you because you'll be the expert on things PNM. But so do you think that she is the correct leader, in your opinion? I'm asking the question in a different kind of way.
And I might be biased. You remember I tell you she died like my aunt.
Yeah, but I'm saying, do you think, in your opinion, as a proposed candidate, well, as a proposed chairman, do you think, in your opinion, she is the best leader to take the PNM to victory in 5 years?
Okay, well, and that's a question Wendell should have asked. If we look at the leadership of the party, when we have leadership elections, the leadership of the party, meaning the political leader, the chairman, the vice chairman, deputies, these sort of offices, treasurer, those offices are for 4 years. So if we have an election now, it takes us on paper up until 2029. However, the party has had a policy, a long policy of not having internal elections when there are national type elections. And when I say national type elections, I also mean the THA elections, the local government elections, naturally general elections. If it is that, and in 2029, we are scheduled to have THA elections, we will be scheduled to have local government elections. I'm not seeing the party saying we will have another set of leadership elections in the midst of a THA election and a local government election. So she will be our political leader.
That's not the question I asked,
Tell me the question. Say it again.
I'm asking your opinion on whether you think that she is the best leader to take the PNM to victory in 5 years. I'm not asking you about that.
Okay, let me answer that question. So when you look at the leadership landscape of the party right now, she is the best person right now. Okay. We don't have, because remember, if we do not have a leader that has a seat, then we will end up in a situation where we have dual leaders. And as I started my presentation before, we cannot serve two masters. You can't. One master might pull one way and the other master pull another way, and then we are house divided. So it is more, we have a better chance if we have one leader. She is presently the leader of the opposition by virtue of her winning her seat. I am certain if other members had won their seat, they may have challenged her, but as fate would have it, she was the leader who won her seat. And because she won her seat, her other members voted her in as the leader of the opposition. And I am of the firm view, policy and otherwise, that we should serve one leader. Yeah.
Farai, in light of all what you've said about Mrs. Beckles-Robinson, she is unopposed as political leader. She has, in my opinion, erred in backing a slate. That's my personal opinion. But she has backed a slate, and this slate includes Marvin Gonzalez as chairman. In light of that, how do you feel contesting a position where clearly the political leader has shown her bias or favoritism towards one other person in the combatant?
I wouldn't say she has shown a bias. What I'll say is that she may have been misguided. Okay, you have gone in unopposed. It is not the situation where Dr. Rowley in 2022 had about 3 competitors. I think it was the Sharer, one of the Boynes brothers, and some other gentleman went up for political leader. And in those circumstances, Dr. Rowley said to himself, after campaign, and I might as well campaign with people who I like. So a campaigner with Stuart, I don't know how much he had like Foster, but he campaigned with Foster too. Yeah. But the reality is, she did not have that sort of baggage. She chose to bring a slate. She's well within her right. But I am well within my right as a party member to challenge that in circumstances where I do not believe that we gave our members justice by supporting persons that hold on to leaders' coattails. And that was what happened in 2022. You had a whole team of, they call themselves Leaders in Service, LIS, that were just holding on to Dr. Rowley, really. The whole campaign was, this is Dr. Rowley's team, and this is his choice. And naturally, he was the prime minister. He was the political leader. Everyone would gravitate to that. But look at where we ended up in 2025. Imagine if we did not put square pegs in round holes in 2022. And we had put officers in place, because we are hearing it even on the platform now, from the current political leader-elect, that the officers just didn't do their work. Her words, not mine.
Yeah, but I know we have Chinua Alleyne waiting to enter the studio, so I just wanted to bring him into the studio because we did book him for 7:35. So I'm just bringing him in at this point, because so he'll be in. So good morning, Mr. Alleyne, and thanks for joining us on the Breakfast Show.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning to Trinidad and Tobago, and thank you for carving out a little space and inviting me onto your show.
Morning, Alleyne.
Good morning, Your Worship. Good morning, Your Worship.
All right.
Yeah. So Mr. Alleyne, I don't
know. Farai and I were in confirmation class together in All Saints.
All right.
You all are very well connected, I know, in coming from that constituency.
But Mr. Alleyne, I don't mean to be the person to fuel confusion on Bacchanal, but Mr. Masaisai. But Mr. Masaisai did suggest that because you are mayor of Port of Spain, that you cannot serve two masters and that you should not be chairman on the basis of that you should focus on being mayor of the largest city in the country and one of the premier cities in the Caribbean, and that you shouldn't really be focusing on chairman. How would you respond to that?
No, I wish Richard would not put words in my mouth. But I'm here to speak for myself. Your Worship, Chinua, what I said was that we are in the midst of a local government election campaign. We can't turn a blind eye to that. You being the mayor of the capital city, my view is that you should focus on winning the election, winning it convincingly, because you are a young, intelligent mayor. Many young men look up to you. Bringing home that elections and bringing home the chairmanship, I am of the view that I could ease your burden in that regard.
So how do you respond to that, Mr. Alleyne?
Yeah. Well, I think it's important, as we were admonished by Dr. Williams in 1960, to choose your candidates with care. He gave a speech at the 5th annual convention, and that was one of the points that he made. And I think that pound for pound, when you look at the field of candidates that have offered themselves to the role of chairman of the PNM, there's only one candidate that has served as the vice chairman of a constituency for 2 years and continues to serve now. There's only one candidate that has served as the chairman of a constituency for 8 years. There's only one candidate that has served for an extensive period in both the General Council and in the Central Executive. There's only one candidate that has served on the National Executive. There's only one candidate that has a track record of service in the PNM in building the infrastructure and the institutions in the party. And that candidate is me. And so for that reason, I have made myself available to the party members, and they have a choice that they are going to be able to make on June 22nd. We let the people decide. I think that the question of candidacy is long gone. The nomination day is already behind us. And the question today is, how do we encourage party members to just participate in the election? On April 28th, over 100,000 people in this country turned their face away from the PNM at the general election because they did not see in the party any hope for their own progress, any hope for the progress of their family and their loved ones, any hope for progress of their community. And we need to build back that trust with the communities. We need to build back that hope. We need to go back to our membership, go back to the communities and listen. I am the candidate for chairman that is committed to doing that, committed to listening to the cries of our membership, listening to the cries of the community. I've had the experience of rebuilding youth leagues all across the country when I served as the youth officer. I dare say one of the most successful terms that the league had in quite some time and since. And I'm just looking forward to Sunday upcoming and asking all members of the party to make a commitment to participate in the election, to not continue to sit on the bench. And I'm asking them to get off the bench and to get in the game.
Mr. Alleyne, I wanted to ask you the same question I asked Mr. Masaisai. In terms of the leadership of the party, the political leader's position is unopposed. So it's going to be Penelope Beckles-Robinson, and she's already the opposition leader. And there has been some internal dissent that's made it to the public. There's a group called the Changemakers, who is anonymous, and they're saying that they feel that she is not suitable. I'm paraphrasing. They feel that she's not being aggressive enough. She's not being vocal enough in terms of her criticism of the ruling party, and she's not speaking up enough, etc., in terms of the style of leadership. What's your position on the leadership of Penelope Beckles-Robinson? Do you think that she is the leader that can take the PNM to victory in 5 years after losing 102,000 rough voters that you, as you indicated, that turned away from the PNM in the election that has just passed?
So I would say two things. One, the political leader-elect Penelope Beckles-Robinson has my unwavering support as the opposition leader, and as of this coming Sunday, she will have my unwavering support as the political leader. You've mentioned some anonymous group that has been making comments in the public space. It is not my practice to comment publicly on internal party matters, as it will. But what I can assure both yourself as well as members of the PNM and members of the public, that from the morning of June 23rd, Penelope Beckles-Robinson will have my unwavering support as the political leader, and I will support her as the chairman of the PNM.
But I too am going to ask you the same question that I asked Farai a while ago, is that in that the political leader elect is unopposed. However, she has, in my opinion, and I don't agree with it, backed a slate, right? Because I didn't think that that was necessary in her case in this instance, right? But she has backed a slate that includes Marvin Gonzalez as the chairman of that slate, right? How do you feel about that? The fact that she has clearly shown that level of bias already for a particular individual and particular individuals. How would you work with her in that perspective?
I don't think that there's going to be any difficulty. The political leader-elect has a right to have a point of view, and she's expressing that, and I think that that's fine. You would know that in the past, in 2014, I offered myself as a candidate for the general election that was upcoming for the Port of Spain North St. Anne's West seat. I was not successful. Stuart Young was selected as the candidate by the screening committee. That didn't prevent me from fully supporting him in the election. I ran his campaign office for 3.5 months for that election. And most recently, I was his campaign manager for this 2025 general election. So that I don't see any difficulty. This is an election. People have a right to have a say. And one of the things that I learned very early whilst I was in the youth league is that democracy means that you can have your say. It doesn't mean that you can have your way. Mm-hmm. So that once everybody has an opportunity to have the say, and once the group has decided, once the people have decided, we all have to fall in line and support the mission.
Who are the combatants for vice chairman in this case? I'm not even aware.
I'm only aware of Paul Spoon, Yunus Ibrahim, Dr. Amory Brown. There may be one other, but I can't.
It's quite a bit. It's quite a bit.
And I mean that's healthy, right? There are about 51 people have offered themselves for leadership in the PNM. For all of the people across the country that saying that the PNM dead, I don't think that if the party was dead, you'd have 51 people vying for the 16 or so odd positions. And this Sunday, it's really about, for me, encouraging as many party members as possible to participate in the election. It's not enough to have a favored candidate or one or two, but come out and exercise your franchise and participate.
Well, I'm going to ask
sorry, I just wanted to get back to Mr. Masaisai because Mr. Alleyne would have said that he is the best candidate by virtue of experience because he is the only candidate. He went through a list of why he is the best candidate because he's the only candidate in terms of certain things, chairman of constituency, etc., etc. So he's saying he has the experience. How do you respond to that?
No, well, he can toot his own horn, I suppose, but the reality is that my skill sets have put me in a position that the chairmanship is well suited for my skill set. I said before, every election that the PNM has won since 2015, I have represented the PNM in court, both High Court and Court of Appeal. Myself, Michael Kwamina, sometimes Gilbert Peterson, sometimes Douglas Mendez. But so for them to have trust and faith in me in terms of my talent as an attorney, I certainly see that as an asset for leadership in the PNM. All of our leaders right now are attorneys. When you look at the landscape, the Prime Minister is an attorney, the President is an attorney, the Leader of the Opposition is an attorney. So my profession in itself has put me at a distinct advantage, as well as the fact that I have also served in the General Council. I may not have served as long as my learned friend, Mr. Chinua, but I've also served in the Central Executive. I've served on the Constitutional Reform Committee together with Mr. Alleyne. I've served I've chaired committees with Wendell Stevens with regards to the implementation of pensions and gratuity for local government representatives, and that was a committee coming out of the Central Executive of the party for the purposes of implementing a gratuity system and a pension system for local government representatives. And certainly when I am elected as chairman, that policy will become PNM policy. The policy was shelved by the last chairman, well, not the last chairman, but the chairman at the time, Mr. Imbert, but certainly it will be revitalized under my tenure. Because go ahead, Wendell. Sorry.
No, I'm listening to Farai and I'm listening to Chinua, and I'm thinking maybe I should have contested as chairman too, because as a local government person, someone at the Central, someone at General Council, someone as chairman of a constituency, I say, but wait, I lapsed.
No, well, Wendell, to be full and frank, I asked you to come on the team.
You did.
You know that. You know that.
But I want to ask you gentlemen a question. Well, either one of you all can go first. And in terms of what's been circulating on social media about people who are contesting some of these positions when they would have lost their seat in the general election, and two of them would have lost their seat in the general election. They're now contesting PRO and General Secretary. And one other who didn't even get a seat in the general election, also contesting a position. There's been a lot of talk circulating on social media about their appropriateness to contest the internal election and so on. However, they are on the set slate that the political leader is supporting. How do you all feel about that?
I'll let his worship go first, or should I go first?
Anyone? I know protocol demands that the mayor goes first.
Mr. Allen, you heard the question. Can you respond?
Is he there?
I'm not sure. He turned his camera off, so I'm
I
not
think
sure.
he lost him. Oh no, he's still there, but his
No, he's still
camera is
there,
off. So you go ahead and answer.
Yeah, you go on Mr. Masaisai. Yeah.
Yes, so as it pertains to persons who have lost their seat and still wants to serve in the same exact position that they served in previous terms, my position is that they ought not to have done so. And certainly the records will show that I'm sort of good friends with Foster. I used to be his attorney at one time. So when Foster lost his seat, I told Foster at that General Council meeting, I told him personally to resign. I told him and Imbert to resign. Imbert was one of the deputy political leaders, and Foster was the general secretary. I said to both of them, I said, you all have led us into a defeat because you all are part of the leadership of the party. So you can't wash your hands and play Pontius Pilate after the event, because if we had won, you would have been on the platform with Stuart Young and Dr. Rowley jumping up happily. So when you lose, you have to lose honorably. And the honorable thing which I told both gentlemen, and I have the records will show, was to resign. And they chose not to resign. They held on to office. Imbert got dismissed summarily in the dead of night when Dr. Rowley said the next day he was going to resign. When he saw that Imbert was not resigning voluntarily, he fired him. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And I've messaged Imbert and say, see, I warn you, you should have resigned. You know? The honorable thing is when you lose an election, you give the party a fresh mandate. That is the honorable thing.
Yes.
And unfortunately, so my view really is we cannot rebuild with the same burnt bricks. And that is how I would describe them. They are burnt bricks, and they will not make a good foundation for a rebuild.
Okay. So let me just say, Mayor Allen asked to be excused. He has an interview with the French ambassador, so he had to leave. Right? He had it at 7:45, so he was running a little late, right? So he has messaged that, right? So he had to leave, right? So but even Ms. Beckles-Robinson basically said that lately, that it was the leadership of the party responsible for the loss and for losing touch with the electorate. How do you respond to that?
No, I agree. Ms. Beckles was part of the General Council leading into the general elections, and the General Council were told that this is a leadership strategy. When they cancelled the convention in November of 2024, there was a press conference with Dr. Rowley, Stuart Young, and the General Secretary, Foster Cummins, each in their capacity as leaders. Yes? And insofar as their leadership capacity, they told not just the General Council, but they told the public at large that it was a leadership decision to cancel the convention. And then Dr. Rowley went at pains to define, for those who don't know what the party constitution says, who are the leadership holders in the party. And as far as I'm aware, the General Secretary is part of the leadership of the party. And he endorsed that, the General Secretary. So for him to now, after the fact, come and say, I was unaware of the strategy leading into the elections, and I have some concerns there. I have some concerns there, because certainly myself, I trusted the leadership. Yes? If the leadership said that they have a strategy to implement and this is part of the plan and and they said, don't question it because we have far more political experience collectively than anyone here. We trusted that. And what happened? We lost the elections and only some of the leadership decided to resign.
Yeah. But I understand.
So
I understand what you're saying. Yeah. And I mean, that will always be an issue. And you know that once you lose, leadership should be held accountable. So I will agree to that. And that's a trait of many Western-style democracies, that leaders will step down once they've lost. Mr. Masaisai, would you be willing to take some calls?
Yes.
I want to believe there are quite a few PNM people that watch this show, so they may have some questions.
But what I can say.
Let me just open up the lines, Wendell. So 281-1315, 281-1315. You can open up the lines. You can give some of your questions to Mr. Masaisai. Of course, Mr. Alleyne had to leave. He had a meeting to get to. And Mr. Gonzalez sent his apologies that he had an early morning meeting at 8 o'clock this morning, so he wasn't able to make it. And he had
I am here. I remain here to answer questions related to chairmanship.
So Marvin responded to you, Richard?
Yes, he did.
Okay, all right.
He apologized. So 281-1315.
What about the rest of your team that you would have fielded, Farai? How because they are mostly unknowns, the rest of your team. What about them?
Yes. So one of the positions that you all were discussing was vice chairman. We have a candidate for vice chairman. His name is Esau Mohammed. He is currently the chairman for the St. Augustine constituency executive. He has been the chairman for quite some time, and also a local government practitioner. He has been an alderman in Tunapuna, as well as he has been a candidate for us for St. Augustine. So Esau Mohammed is our candidate for vice chairman. For youth officer, we have a gentleman from your constituency, Wendell. His name is Josima James.
Yes, I know.
He serves on the constituency executive. He served at one point as their treasurer in Port of Spain South, and he's currently serving as their social media officer. So young Josima, is bringing some youth to the team, and he is willing to serve as the youth officer. He has developed an app actually called Youth Connect, and certainly the intent is to roll out that app. We have to change the way in which we engage our young people. So it's about device to mind as opposed to door to door.
All right, we have any callers on the line, Sir Charles?
Sir Charles is he there?
Sir Charles.
He may be taken over. Go ahead, Farai, because we about to wrap up in the next 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see Mr. Alleyne has rejoined us.
Oh, okay. All right.
Morning all. Sorry about that. I lost connection for a bit.
Yes, I know that you said you had an appointment with the French ambassador.
Yes.
All right. So the question earlier on, of course, was about the losers, the people who would have lost their seat in the general election and who would still be vying for particular position. What was your opinion about that? If you could condense it in the 2 minutes that we have left.
Sure. I think again that's part of the democracy. Anybody who is a party member in good financial standing has the right to offer themselves, has the right to participate, regardless of what their record is in electoral politics, or regardless of what their record is in service in the party. I mean, there are some people who are offering themselves to the position of chairman that have not had the experience of working in party committees, or have not had the experience of leading any of the structures in the party, and they're offering themselves. That is opportunities open to them, and I think that's just part of the democracy of the movement.
Well, we are down to the closing minute or so. So I don't know if you want to give your closing remarks, Mr. Alleyne, and then we'll go to Mr. Masaisai.
Very simply, on June 22nd, I'm asking you to lend me your vote for the position of chairman. I'm asking you to vote for hope, that we can rebuild our movement and get back into government. And I'm asking everybody to get off the bench, get in the game, and participate in the election on June 22nd.
All right. And Mr. Masaisai, your closing remarks?
On June 22nd, I'm asking that you lend me your vote. Vote for Farai Hove Masaisai for chairman of the People's National Movement. Vote for a chairman that will rebuild and dedicate full time to rebuilding the party. Vote for all of the People's Champions members. Vote for Issa Mohammed, vote for Sinclair Michael O'Neill as your labor relations officer. Vote for Josimar James as your youth officer. Vote for Eric Hopkins II as your field officer. And vote for the People's Champions, the only real change. And also our PRO, Christopher George, as PRO.
All right. So that's it. But, well, Mr. Alleyne and Mr. Masaisai, thank you so much for joining us on the Breakfast Show. We appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. Mr. Alleyne, we'd like to have you back in your capacity as Mayor of Port of Spain at some point.
That's fine.
To discuss Port of Spain at some point. But thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate you taking the time to speak.
Yes,
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Wendell. Thank you, Sir Charles. Thank you.
Take care.
All right.
Good day, gentlemen. All right, and just as a note, we did Marvin Gonzalez, the other candidate for chairman, did apologize that he couldn't make it this morning. So we acknowledge his attempt. All right.
All right. So the 8 o'clock news.
8 o'clock news, Richard. Come.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is your news update for Tuesday, June 17th, 2025. I am Amanda Mitchell with New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service will host the inaugural handing over parade for incoming Commissioner of Police Alistair Guevara tomorrow at the Police Academy, Saman Drive, St. James. In a media release, the TTPS confirmed that Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander, along with members of the Executive and 1st Division officers, will be present at the ceremonial event. Guevara, a senior superintendent of police in the Special Branch, received unanimous approval from both government and opposition in Parliament on Friday. In a recent interview, Guevara outlined 6 key areas of focus: crime reduction, dismantling gang influence, removing illegal guns, rebuilding public trust, curbing school violence, and improving road safety. He is expected to receive his formal appointment letter between today and tomorrow and will officially succeed Acting Commissioner Junior Benjamin. A High Court judge has given the Director of Public Prosecutions 7 days to provide an update on the long-delayed Dana Cedar Hull murder case. On Friday, Justice Carol Gobin ordered the DPP to say whether he intends to file an indictment against the accused or drop the case altogether. The judge also instructed that Earl Peters, one of 10 men charged, must receive a written explanation for the delay. Peters and Rajai Ali filed a constitutional motion arguing that their nearly 10-year wait for trial has violated their rights. Cedar Hull, a former independent senator and prosecutor, was gunned down in May 2014 while driving in Woodbrook. Disputes between the DPP and judiciary over the delivery of an 8,100-page case file have further stalled progress. A 28-year-old prison officer assigned to the Aruca Maximum Security Prison has been arrested and charged with drug trafficking and smuggling prohibited items into the prison. According to police, the officer from Williamsville was first detained in May after authorities received intelligence that he was carrying contraband while on duty. On June 11th, following a joint intelligence operation, he was rearrested outside the prison. The officer is accused of trafficking cocaine into the prison for payment, as well as smuggling in multiple cell phones, SIM cards, and electronic accessories. He was charged over the weekend and is expected to appear in the Arima Magistrates Court today. In crime news, a woman from Rusilac was shot dead while in a vehicle with her husband at the Debe roundabout on Sunday night. Police say around 10:20 p.m., officers found a white Nissan AD wagon with blood on the rear passenger door and the engine still running. In the front passenger seat, they discovered the lifeless body of 59-year-old Elizabeth Mary Leonard with injuries to her face. Her husband, 63-year-old Premnath Enal, was found about 150 meters away with multiple gunshot wounds and taken to the San Fernando General Hospital for treatment. Police have not yet identified a motive for the attack. You are listening to news on New Era TT Radio. In regional news, Dominican authorities have vowed to dismantle a gun trafficking syndicate after seizing nearly 50 firearms, including AR-15 assault rifles, at the nation's ports since January. Acting Police Commissioner Lincoln Corbett revealed that 42 of the weapons and 220 rounds of ammunition were intercepted at points of entry, while another 7 guns were confiscated from suspected criminals. So far, 21 people have been arrested, with 7 already convicted. National Security Minister Rayburn Blackmore confirmed the existence of a regional gun-running syndicate and noted the success of new scanners at ports, funded by EC $2.7 million in government investment. Blackmore issued a stern warning to those harboring illegal weapons: surrender them or face the full 35-year penalty under Dominica's strict gun laws. In international news, the conflict between Israel and Iran reached a new peak as Israel bombed Iran's state-run TV station during a live broadcast, forcing a reporter to flee mid-air. The strike came hours after Iran launched a fresh wave of missiles, killing at least 8 in Israel, while Israel claims to have crippled Iran's missile and nuclear capabilities. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Iran's nuclear program has been set back a very, very long time. Israel warned over 300,000 civilians in Tehran to evacuate ahead of the strike, claiming air superiority over the capital. Iran has launched over 100 missiles, vowing more deadly retaliation. In total, 24 have died in Israel and over 220 in Iran, with hundreds more injured on both sides. Calls for U.S. intervention are growing as the region teeters on the edge of all-out war. That concludes your news update for today. I'm Amanda Mitchell for New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. The Breakfast Show with Wendell, Richard and Sir Charles continues right after this short break.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Advertise with us on New Era TT Radio, the fastest growing streaming platform for talk in Trinidad and Tobago. Audio and video ads welcome. Elevate your brand with us. Connect with us at newerattradio@yahoo.com or call us at 299-5156. Now what are you waiting for?
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
Great news, Caribbean. The Breakfast Show is now on M&E TV, bringing you entertaining conversations, vital information, and influential perspectives throughout Trinidad and Tobago and across the Caribbean region. Catch us on Digicel Channel 20, Flow Channel 111, Amplia Channel 117, Blink Channel 109, Tricode Channel 154, and Airlink Channel 10. The Breakfast Show connects with the Caribbean and Trinidad and Tobago like never before. We're now on M&E TV.
We haven't touched on, and well, of course, let's say thanks again to our guests for joining us, Chinua Alleyne and Farai Hove Masaisai, both competitors and strong competitors, I think, together with Mark
Very strong.
For chairman of the People's National Movement. They have an election taking place sometime this weekend. So
Sunday the 22nd.
It's Sunday, okay.
Yeah, which means Saturday is the summer solstice.
Yeah. You know what I don't understand? You know, that part of the world that's so war written, I guess, because you have Ukraine and Russia, now you have Israel and Iran.
Mm-hmm.
And you have Israel and Gaza, that whole issue, the Palestinian. Well, that's ongoing issue.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the, you know what gets me about all of this, Wendell? Iran is a theocratic state,
mm-hmm.
and Israel is a Jewish state. So they're both very religious states.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think that religion should attempt to rise us to be better than ourselves. Christianity too. Christianity, you don't feel you get away from this either.
Mm-hmm.
That it should be to rise us above, ourselves. And yet, the major religions in the world have so much animosity and so much anger and so much hatred. It's amazing. It's why religion is almost farcical. It's the height of almost hypocrisy in the people that adhere to these faiths. In just in terms of the wars and hatred that you see play out before our very eyes. I just find it incredible. So when people say, "Oh, you're not religious, you're doing something wrong," so they're not doing nothing wrong.
Richard, I could bring it back to even our local issues, and our local churches and people who taught Christianity and so on. So they are some of the most wicked people on the face of this earth. And you're right. You wonder why these people are bombing and killing innocent people. People who have nothing to do with their cause and what they believe in, dying by the thousands. Sometimes I wonder about it.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
I mean,
let's go down the road assuming that God exists in whatever form, because of course humanity can't even agree who God is. But so there are various versions of God, which is fine because it's a belief system. But assuming that there is one all-powerful God, what do you think when you see all of that? Because we always, I know religious people always, or religious academics always say that, God gave you choice, and this is just human beings exercising the choice to do it wrong. Even in the people that you're talking about who are hypocrites,
yeah,
gave you choice, but I don't know.
I believe in God, right? But I more believe in good, and that's the problem with some of these people who believe in God. They don't believe in good. That's the problem with them. All they need to do is add a little extra O, and they're good to go,
You would think that religion encourages empathy. Because even if you're looking at the Christian, and I would know Christianity more because I grew up as a Catholic. So it was always about empathy and about ye without sin cast the first stone. There is inbuilt empathy in terms of the life of Jesus Christ and who he hung around with, who he went to dinner with. You know these stories, and if you don't know these stories, I don't know what kind of Christian you are. But and yet Christians are some of the Christians you meet are the least empathetic.
Yes.
And very judgmental,
Yes.
And it's amazing to me, and just seeing this thing with Israel and Iran is just kind of cements in my mind that maybe religion is not the way. Maybe it's some other. Maybe it's your personal belief system.
It has to be
rather than organized religion.
But I've told you that so many times, Richard. I've told you a lot of people who are saying Hail Mary and Jesus, Hail Jesus. They are not going to find their way, They are some of the most despicable human beings on the face of this. You understand? And some of the people who don't speak about God or don't speak about Jesus or don't subscribe to it are some of the best human beings on it.
It's so curious as we wrap up. It's the Abrahamic religions are all related in some way or the other. So Judaism, Islam, and Christianity have interconnections because they're called the Abrahamic religions. And I don't know now. In 22 and 25, if you are a time traveler from the past, you can be like, what is still going on?
Which is why I've said for years, let go and let God. And which is why I now use one life, live it. You understand?
And this is where we wrap up the breakfast show for this morning. So, of course, we'll have a more interesting guest for you tomorrow. I know Wendell is in charge of that because the PNM internal elections is rife in the air and it is bubbling, at least for PNM people. The rest of the country is ho-hum. But
it's bubbling for everybody, trust me.
But anyway, so we'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning. So have a fantastic day. The weekend begins tonight, believe it or not, at a second after midnight. Have a fantastic day, whatever you're doing. And remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health. Keep on the channel, newerattradio.com, or on TuneIn, New Era TT Radio. The shows and music continues throughout the day. Have a great day, everybody. And all this, of course, has been what, Wendell?
The Breakfast Show.
That's it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The Breakfast Show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah line. Let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Good vibes rolling through the air. The Breakfast Show and